So today's topic, or this panel's discussion topic, is on the role of social media in helping to change the mindset of the young millennials. Because social media can be a double-edged sword. It could be used for the good or for harm. Okay, so I'd like to open the discussion to the panelists to share in your area of work, what have you done in increasing financial literacy in the work that you're doing now? So, yeah, perhaps. Yeah, so everyone, so we'll go around.
Does this work? Okay.
So Ms. Mathura can start. Yeah.
Yes. Hi guys, my name is Mathura. What do we do? Okay, so basically I'm from an organization called Ascendance. We work with youngsters across Malaysia. We are developing kids in high school, where we are getting them to see how can they have a holistic life. Because I think a lot of emphasis is being placed on academics, but not much on the rest of the other aspects of their life. So we are working with them to see how can they start becoming happier individuals, healthier individuals, and also develop their career at a very young age. So how are we bringing financial literacy to students? I think one of the things that we don't like, it's not something that we have to make a module out of. It's not something that we do a class on. It's more towards role modeling. I think many of these kids aren't actually interested in financial literacy and all of that because it's not even in their life. When they go to school, they come back home, they're actually not thinking about money at all. So one of the things that we do is give them real life experiences. We get these youngsters to start up projects or businesses in their passion, whatever that they are interested in. Some of them like art, some of them like selling products, marketing, things like that. Get them to start doing something that is real. Because in school, everything's protected. Even if you sell in the school carnival, it's still protected. It's not actually something where you're dealing with the real world. So we get them to do these projects, and then they will eventually encounter those problems that if you do not refund your customers, they're going to write a bad review about you online. If you do not deliver the product when it's supposed to be delivered, they're going to write bad about you as well. So it's like they face real world problems. And that is how we guide youngsters. We don't tell them that this is the theory and this is how you do it. Because, like you said, if they don't have the funds, how are they going to do it? But when they are earning that money, they will actually care for it. If your parents give you money and say, take care of it, you wouldn't really bother. I think when it's their hard-earned money, they'll actually care for it and do something about it. So yeah, that's how we work with kids.
It's a very indirect approach and also focusing on income creation.
Yep.
So it's very progressive instead of defensive, I would say.
Yep.
So would you be able to share the mechanisms, like in what way do you assist them in starting their micro-entrepreneurship?
I think most kids don't even know that they could start something like this. They are told to, study because you barely can study. That's what most kids are told. So one of the things we do is get youngsters to see that they can do something more than just go to school. So, and then we start with something that they are comfortable with. There's no point in telling a kid to do something that they are not interested in. There's no point saying, this is the future industry, this is where you can make the most amount of money. They're not going to be interested. So there's no point wasting our time on that. But we look at what they are good at or what they like, they're slightly interested in. Many of them are interested in like Instagram or photography and things like that. Use that to start doing something. So we actually had a group of kids. This is like artists, kids who sketch in their sketchbooks and they don't show it to anybody else in their life. And we had a few of them from different schools and we gathered them and said, okay, what can you guys do for other kids? So they said they wanted to start a platform for other shy youngsters, teenagers like them, to start sharing their art. And they started doing that, first of all, with an Instagram page, because we are millennials, we do that. And eventually, they actually came up with an idea to organize a competition for these kids. So these are students who are like between the age of 14 to 16. They organized an art competition online on their platform. I think they managed to get about 100 participants to come in to that platform, participate in the competition. They were even like recognized by Faber-Castell for the work that they were doing, engaging youngsters in art. And they actually had an award ceremony and did all of that. So when they are going through this process, then we can show them what do we mean by you will have expenses when you do an event. Yep. You can't just throw an event when you feel like it. You have to get sponsorships. You have to, how do you convince a corporate partner that you're worth being sponsored? So these are the things that we teach them, but we let them go through the process, let them make the mistakes, and then we show them how it's done.
That's great. So very hands-on.
Yep.
Okay, thanks. And Mr. Shane, would you like to share as well on your efforts at LifeChamp?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. In LifeChamp, what we do is we are a youth development company. So we help young people to train them in the area of leadership, money management, as well as entrepreneurship. So in the area of money management, what we do is we have this program called Young Money Master, whereby it is a paid program for the parents to enroll them, the children that come to our program to learn about money management, to learn about to older adults, we teach about basic financial planning, to learn about good money habits, good money belief, good money values. They learn these skills in our 3 days program about money as young as 7 years old to 20 over years old. So that's what we do for the Young Man Master program. But aside from that, we also have a program with corporate clients. For example, I work with investment banks. I work with Bursa Malaysia. We manage 25 Bursa Young Investor Club around university around Malaysia to teach the right concept of investment so that they won't fall prey to the scheme, okay, to the scam, all right? Before it becomes a scam, it was a scheme, all right? So that they won't fall prey, they will be able to identify what schemes are likely to be a scam, so they won't fall prey to this. So that's what we do from the investment literacy and financial literacy. But we also notice that there are people, like parents, who cannot afford to send their kids to our financial literacy program. And also cannot afford to send them to our investment program. So I also led an NGO called the LEAD Institute, which we want to reach out to the underserved youth in the communities where they cannot afford. But still, financial literacy is a need to them. So what LEAD Institute does is we work with government agencies, we work with work with the US State Department to get the grants to reach out to this underserved community to teach them about social entrepreneurship as well as financial education. So we teach them how they can start a social enterprise, we teach them how to deal with the money, we even give them seed funding to execute their social project, be it to reach out to people who want to address bullying at school, who want to address environmental issues, who want to address economic development. So we give them seed funding and teach them how they can do fundraising or how they can better utilize the resources that they have to impact the greater community that is at need. So we do it through our, for profit side is LifeChamp, the other one is LEAD Institute.
I see.
Yeah.
And for the different age groups between 7 to 20, do you deploy different types of approaches, or is it a cookie cutter?
Yeah, sure. Of course, to reach out to the 7 to about 14 years old, we use a more activity-based game, to talk to them. And it is mainly 80% game, 20% concept. All right. But for the older kids, like 15 years old and above, teenager and youth, what we do is we have a 3-day simulation to teach them about money. So when they come to this simulation, they start the game. Everybody start the game at the age of 16 years old, where they need to go to school, get the right education. They will decide whether they want to do until SPM, STPM, until degree, or until PhD. So they graduate from inside the program simulation game. They graduate with a degree. So if they are higher paid, they can go for a highly qualified job. If they are lower, they get a lower qualification, they will have to settle for a janitor kind of a job. So they need to really go out to get a job and to earn the money, and then we'll give them our simulation money so they can spend their money in the simulation game. So in the simulation game, we set up facilities, infrastructure and facilities such as bank, college, exchange board, property agency, insurance company, and even casino or city hall to collect tax, So to simulate the real life environment as closely as possible so that they can learn how to pay taxes, should they gamble, should they buy insurance, they can also meet accident. So they can also die in the game. So we give them a simulated environment to learn about money, to properly earn it and to spend it, and go through the wealth accumulation as well as wealth protection, also as wealth distribution.
So it's some sort of like a board game, or is it workshop style?
It's a workshop style. Style.
So we can't buy it from Toys R Us yet, lah.
Yeah, you can't buy it.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
And
Not yet.
Miss Chris, would you like to share about your fintech company as well?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thank you so much. I want to thank Amy personally for including me in this sharing. For the longest time, I was thinking that millionaires, what is the definition here? And like even like just now, I quickly Googled to double confirm and realized that actually I'm also the millionaire. Yep. So I'm thinking that who am I to be here to like give advice when I am still continuously learning. Yeah, this is why I was like, it was a great event today that I pick up a lot of, it's like a refreshment course to me, all right? So thank you for the event. And again, like when I listen to, wow, so much effort has been done focusing on the younger generation here, then I'm like, okay, I didn't did that much for the younger generation. But to increase my current active income, I did teach for Money Tree. So yeah, this is one program that I'm actually now based in JB. So there are a lot of international schools there already, and Money Tree has penetrated to the schools. So they are short of teachers, and I managed to squeeze more time. So I did teach a bit. So it's very fun to teach. Yeah, but for my own business, right? When I started this business with my partner, we did not exclude any person. Like we did not. This is also one of our challenges, that we did not have a specific group. Because for us, thinking to build the community that practice financial planning, we think that every one of us need financial planning. So even young kids, right? They have their ang pao money, yeah. So that's why we didn't exclude anyone. But to share with you related to the topic, interestingly, those that come to our workshop and go through with us, right, for the training, they most of them are either young family or with kids, family with kids, or the millionaires. So those that really wanted to do something different from their peers, right? They're willing to learn. So I would say that it's good to see them. And I asked them why they joined our training, and I realized that they like our approach in a way that we did not teach them. It's like in our program, we are promoting FIT. So pardon me for our grammar. FIT, similar like PAD, right? Yeah. So we think of a lot of this interesting term for them to pick up easily. So we have this FIT, financial independent thinking. So in the 4 big areas of financial planning, insurance, which is our protection, risk management, and then investment, the accumulation, all right? And we have money management, which is the cash flow, how you manage your cash in and cash out. And last but not least, you have this wealth distribution. Yeah, so nowadays I couldn't really recall with the proper term of it. But in FinC, we call it Tai Chi. We relate it to exercise. Okay? So this Tai Chi, it means that black and white is important. It means that you can think of it, the Tai Chi logo, that is a death related. And you can also think of it in a way that people will relate Tai Chi in a way that this is for old people. So we want to promote this concept to them, even for youngster. Anyone of here below 18? May I have a show of hand? Below 18. Okay, so if no one below 18, are you, just one of you, all right? So are you aware that as long as you are above 18 years old, you can write your own will for free? Yeah, so these are the things that we promote in our workshop. We ask them to apply FIT concept to have independent thinking, and that's why I totally agree with Rajan, and I wanted to ask question but cannot just now. Yeah, it's like, yes, I agreed as well that not everyone need a life insurance, but what about like medical insurance? Yeah, so in our workshop, we will ask them to think, and we will ask them, after you know your needs and wants, and how to choose, how to make the informed decision. So we, from the financial gym, we are the trainer, not to come here to tell you that, hey, listen to us, but to tell you, it's your financial exercise journey. You need to continue to practice to keep the maintenance. So regardless of your financial status right now, whether you are already financially freedom, or you are still struggling, or you don't know at all. Like, I also don't know. It's like every day I live in my bubbly life, and every day I drink bubble tea. Okay? Yeah. We want you to know that as long as you are one step further, one step fitter, we consider you one step healthier in financial journey. Yeah, so that's what we are doing in FinC. Okay, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Ms. Chris. Maybe just a follow-up question as well. You mentioned that your training programs are open to all age groups, but what are the main age group that respond or that attend to your workshop?
Yeah, as mentioned, we managed to capture young family that they have the urgent needs. They want to know like what can be done. So the young family I also have like, I would say young family 35 to 40, and I also have like 25 to 30. So these two groups, surprisingly, for the younger group.
Okay, got it. Thanks. And yes, and Ms. Brenda, would you like to share as well in the efforts done by your financial advisory?
Okay, first of all, I feel very young because I'm seated with very young people. Thank you for granting me this seat. I feel so young. Thank you for that. Yeah, I just want to share with you what is my background. I'm a licensed financial advisor by Bank Negara and Securities Commission. So I actually is a practitioner on field. It means we deal with the young families, we deal with the complex high net worth, we deal with the dato, the tan sri, the ordinary people, the hardcore poor, and the whole spectrum of life. They come up with a consistent question to say, am I ready to retire? Do I have enough to retire? How bad is my situation? When should I get off of bankruptcy? A lot of real life data. So basing so much information that we need to answer, so I decided to write this program called The Well of Life. And this Well of Life program actually talks about who am I, what is my DNA and true success definition, the purpose in the jungle of life, using the right keys to unlock the potential within us in different seasons of life, different level of wealth, different types of income, what is wealth protection, wealth creation, wealth distribution, wealth preservation, the whole spectrum of it. And it's talking about living a life of legacy. How do you live a life of destiny, living full and dying empty, that kind of thing. It's a whole spectrum. It's a roadmap of the whole spectrum. So the youngest student we ever had was 3 years old. The oldest we had was 80 years old. So what do we do in our program? It started because many of the challenges I meet on field, in my professional field. In order to meet their needs, I came out with this education program. So we went on field teaching them this whole spectrum of information. So just to answer to some of your sharing just now, we taught some welding school about money. Some of them like to, they have no direction in life. They do smoke. So when I took them out, Mr. Klein, so-and-so, Mr. Young Man, handsome young man, you smoked 18 sticks a day, and now you're 18. By the time you're 65 years old, you've burned off 465,000. So with that shocking truth, they realized, I need to do something about burning away the money. So 2 years later, we went and visited the ground. We found that the young kids there has bought some land, have a motorbike, even have the marriage seed money ready. That was very rejoiceful for that. And we taught the program all the way to Vietnam, and we find that there are 4 generations of fatherless people. They're all sleeping in one room, a sardine of 4. There's like a sardine in a room, they have no income, and one motorbike, not enough to sustain. As what Rajan, you were saying, the school days was very challenging. So we taught them active income, we taught them passion income. You like to draw, and we tell them residue income as well. Why not you go to school and you share the seat behind and earn extra 20 cents, They're little small things, and it matters to them. So in order to teach them finance, we have to teach them life before finance, or else we will create a generation of I, me, myself. A generation of crazy rich Asian. Do they exist? They do. I remember doing a real case. 4 siblings was fighting with the father. The father is 93 years old, trying to get a Chinese girlfriend. And the 4 children was reluctant to do so because, hey, that's supposed to be my inheritance. Why should I give it to that lady? So they were actually fighting in that room. So real people have real problems. So what do? We actually incorporate something even deeper. We talk about money, neurofinance, behavioral finance. Before you see money objectively, there is a layer of items that detox it. The money psychology, the neurofinance, the money personality, the habits and attitude, the whole spectrum of it. Why do they buy the thing they want to buy? Why the Prada? What does it mean? Why do we want to work hard? Why do we stay out to 6 o'clock? What is the true meaning of money to them? Is it freedom? Is it fame? Is it reputation? If we don't deal that root issue, we cannot teach them the real thing. We need to teach them, the first thing we have to detox them from money. Yep. Then we understand what life problems is, teach them about life. Then we impart skills. And then we empower a life. So basically what do? I teach from 3 to 80 years old. And and one of the very interesting story was the ladies. I teach not represented here, this seat is about 13 years to 25. But I want to share this interesting story. When we taught about finance to a group of women, we find that this group of ladies actually have not cried. So when they detox that emotion from money, they actually cried 3 hours, 4 hours. And we taught about finance in Hong Kong. And students came from Guangzhou, and we talk about money and finance. So when we deal with the money psychology issue deep inside them, it was unlocking a new world for them. They've begun to see, you need to have serious money, play money, business venture money, and passion money, and so on and so forth. If you don't detox them, they will see money unobjectively. It is either they are the slave to the money, or money is a slave to them. You can't balance them to see it objectively. So what I do is, as a licensed financial advisor, I'm also an educator. So educator came out of passion. I remember one interesting thing when we taught the Japanese, what is true wealth? How do you define differences between money, richness, prosperity, abundance, the whole dimension of the whole spectrum? The jaw just dropped. You say, in our culture, we were never taught this particular component. So I think what kept us going is because the transformation we can see on the ground.
I see. Yeah. So Ms. Virenda, in your experience in these different countries, Japan, Hong Kong, China, and Vietnam, are the root issues similar in terms of the lack of financial literacy?
Yes, the base issue is very similar. For example, we need air to breathe. We need food to eat and to live on. So financial is actually the same everywhere. It's just that how do you quantify them? So some of the students will say, am I ready to retire? Do I have enough to retire? What does money mean to us? So I say true wealth is not defined by numbers. If we're talking about yen and rupiah, it's different from ringgit and US dollar. So true wealth is not defined by numbers, it's defined by time. How long does your wealth last? Does it last 3 generations? If you like the latest TEDx talk I talk about is how do you extract the dynasty in you and manage it as a dynasty rather than just the skills, because there is a full dynasty management of the financial literacy. Yeah.
So common problems, and hopefully we can come up with common solutions for the global society as well. Okay, now I'd like to zoom in now. So all of our efforts, part of the demographics that we're reaching out to are millennials. So I'd like to ask and open this to the panelists. What are the main challenges you face in educating millennials? What are the main challenges you face when you try to educate millennials? Yeah, maybe we can start with Ms. Mathura. Oh, yeah, that works as well. Yeah. Or whoever that's ready can start first. Okay, Mr. Shane.
Well, I guess the biggest challenge is the peer pressure.
Peer pressure.
Yeah. because today our topic is on delay, is on social media, the role of social media. I think social media play an important role, a role there to induce more peer pressure on them, because we are the millennials are on Instagram, on Facebook, and because nowadays the teens need to seek recognition or acknowledgement from their peers, so they will buy things to display, to show their friends, express themselves by the material possession. So when they see their friends wearing certain brand of shoes, so they will likely to have to make the impulse purchase to buy that brand of shoes. So if they see that their friends are following this influencer to hop onto this cafe, so they also want to join the trend to go to the cafe to consume there. So I think the biggest challenge is how do we give a positive peer pressure so they can all collaboratively become financially literate. Yeah.
Thanks. Anyone else who would like to add to that? The challenges you face in trying to educate millennials?
Okay. As I mentioned, I don't feel that big of challenges because for FinCEN, we stay very neutral, that we want them to think for themselves. So I agree with few of the speakers mentioned earlier that your financial status, your wealth, I mean, like how much you can accumulate throughout your life is actually you and yourself to take responsible. So I will say the biggest challenge is whether the future you can face what consequences that your today's decision make or not. So I will leave the challenges back to the person that is you and your money, all right? So to me, I don't think our team faced that big challenges, but I face bigger challenges is that in Malaysia market, because I have a 1 year experience from Singapore, so I will really have to say that the bigger challenge that I face here promoting this FIT concept, right, is that even me, myself, I will say that we don't have the strong fundamental about managing money. So that's, I think, that is quite challenging to break through this, and also because, so it become like a habit. Yep. It become like a habit, and I agree that peer pressure, so especially when relating back to our topic here, we cannot live without social media nowadays. So we even have one identity different from the real life. Yeah, we want to maintain that. So the cost is there for you to maintain that. So I will say that the challenge is, I will say education will one day help in this, and not just the millionaires. I will say even the market players within the financial industry, that they should together help to overcome this challenge. Yeah, so that's from me.
Okay, there's a 3 point here I'd like to share from you. I'm not reading text, I'm just reading the information for everybody's benefit. So first of all, the millennials, we have the issue of I'm entitled to. And at the same time, they may be a passive. But the research has shown that the most proactive generation of all time is also the millennials, because 52% of them agreed in being proactive in that research data. So it means they feel entitled and somehow passive, but actually they are also 52% confirm they are very active, proactive researcher based on this data. The second information will be Mr. Google. So because the available information is so much, the millennials do Google research as much as they can, but there's a lacking of human touch, you know. So for example, well, protection is good, but sometimes you may be spending too much on protection, so they still need the human touch. And the third finding shows that we think that social media means they do shop online. But Ascendance actually did a research of survey of 6,000 people. 82% of the millennials worldwide confirm that they like to meet somebody and shop physically in the physical
shopping malls and dealing with people are important. So you ask what are the misconceptions and what are the challenges. There are 3 points here. It's actually inter-conflicting in their own ways. Yeah.
Okay, interesting to know. 82% would like the human touch in this digital age. Okay. Now, my next question is this: have anyone among us have run any social media campaigns in engaging your crowd? Yeah. Have you used any social media campaigns to reach out to your crowds?
I think we have to continuously use social media to reach out to our crowds.
Would you like to share some of the campaigns that you have done?
I don't think, for one thing that my organization does is that we don't run specific campaigns in a way. Because I feel like I'm actually, Gen Y, right? 23 years old. So including my generation and the one who's I'm working with, when people run campaigns, we can see through it. And I don't think it actually engages Gen Zs as much as we would like to think it does. So many times, everyone out there is now like, okay, that's where the future is, that's where the millennials are, let's just do campaigns and stuff like that, but everybody is doing it.
Correct.
So I think one thing that really lacks is actually the personal touch to it. I would say we campaign, but we don't campaign in the sense that we come up with words and then let's just put it out there and ask people to post their selfies and things like that. What we campaign on is sharing our lifestyle on our social media. So many times we hear people talk about how is it not good for you and how is it good for you and all kinds of stuff. But actually very rarely I see people share their lifestyle online, on social media. These youngsters are going to be on social media whether we like it or not. And if you can share what is your daily life like, what are the things that you do. Like for me, I'm running Ascendance. What actually happens in running Ascendance? Who am I meeting? What am I doing? Am I presenting to somebody? Did it go through or not? This kind of stuff, when I put it online on my social media, the youngsters engage. Like me being at the conference here today, when I put it on Instagram, then they are engaged. So that they are more engaged when it's somebody doing something, when it's a group of people working towards their passion. It's that idea behind it. It's not the hashtag and all of that, because the hashtag will die off when that event is over. So I think we should not look at it as something like a promotional campaign. Let's just do this now because we want these results. It's more on like, what can I do every day to benefit the person who's following me? Actually, social media is a huge responsibility. And because if you share something and the person who's watching you gets affected by it, you could change their life. So I think that's something that I've come to realize, because I am changing the lives of kids who are in school. And it's a huge responsibility. So I've come to realize it. The kids who I work with are also beginning to realize it. So some of these kids, like you said, right, they're obsessed with this bubble tea and their Instagram and their TikTok and all of that. We had those kind of kids as well. And the natural thing to tell them is, don't do this, it's wasting your time. And when you tell that, you actually make it worse. They are going to go for it more, because if you say, no, I'll go for it, that's what teenagers do. So one thing that we did is, okay, good, you're going for it, but see how can you use this to benefit the people who are watching you. And just plant that thought. They're not going to change in the first day, not even the first few months, but eventually they'll start looking at it. We actually had youngsters who were obsessed with these certain things. They started looking at how can I use this to benefit other people. So I think that's a good thing, and that's how it should be done in a way.
Thanks, Ms. Mathura. Anyone else have any experience with social media campaigns?
I ran a few campaigns before. For example, on one campaign, we gave away an iPhone 6, and then it instantly went viral. Yeah, on a few occasions we give away some smaller ticket items, then it also went a little bit viral. Okay. So yeah, that's my experience. Yeah.
So the key thing is iPhone, not just social media. Okay.
I think if you give Huawei, it will still works like magic.
Oh. Okay.
I think I can add on just a little bit. For me, right, we wanted to be online financial gym, but until now, after close to 2 years, the online is not really there just yet, the online gym. So I agree in this promoting financial planning, personal touch is still very important. People want to see you because they want to trust you. So yes, they can gather information online, but they can't just trust you like that. So they will go to online, but they still want to see us. That's why for the past 1 year plus, me and my team, we have been go to the ground, go into the market to talk to people. And I am very amazed. This is really what millionaires should do, like stand out, speak the right thing, do the right thing. So, but I agree, there is social media, to play this role, right, you need to have this huge responsibility because it will stay. Yeah, you will eventually become the influencer. That's why this is also one of the reasons, not to give excuse to ourselves, but this is what I remind my team, that we ourselves, the so-called trainer with certain knowledge out there to teach people during the workshop, we ourselves need to be set as example first. Like how did we do well in our own financial planning? Yeah, so I think that's my part. Yeah.
Understand. Thanks.
For my organization, we have not touched social media as yet, zero, because we are guarding it very jealously, as you said, as all of us mentioned. Social media is very influential. I had a discussion with my teenage children. They do cut themselves. They do commit suicide. They follow any trend that is as and when they like, which they think is popular, they do so. They have kids who have cut their ties, cut their arms, in hidden areas that you do not know. So social media, why? It's just a trend. It's just a peer pressure. So it's a trend. So we got it so jealously that we have not even touched any of the social media. We have taught about 20,000+ people across Asia, and we still have standing invitation for Africa, and we have not touched any form of advertisement or social media. Reasons because we have to guard it so jealously to know what is the key essence in actually communicating the truth. That's one. Second, last June, this June, I was speaking to about 100, 200+ people on TEDx. So TEDx was actually invited a numbers of people who are unique in their own ways. Before me, we were talking to the key opinion leaders from across the social media. Each Instagram is 23 million views, each Instagram. So they said they have to be responsible key opinion leaders. Now, if we were to go into social media in the right time or at the right campaign, we need to study the key opinion leaders properly. So they have one husband, one wife. The wife must be a lady, example. A proper humanity, virtues must be anchored upon that particular person before we can move on. So I think key opinion leaders is very valuable because they will influence, they have good followers, and the campaign will be powerful as well. So basically, if you ask us, we have not actually touched on social media because we know the impact. One wrong advice or if we tell them, this is a scam, and Malaysia has really lost 410 million last year from Bank Negara report on scams. That is only reported. What about non-reported? So if we explain something that's not precise, they from scheme we went to scam, and they will actually burn off all the Malaysian money, especially all these crypto stories, 20% per month and scary information like that. So if we don't teach them well, it's going to be very, very dangerous space. Yeah, the impact is unimaginable. Yeah.
True, because the way we intend in presenting the information and how they receive it might be different as well. So, and I guess in summary, nothing beats face-to-face. Yeah. Okay. Now, I have one interesting question from the crowd, and is this: should emotions be removed from money? And if it's yes, how can we remove emotions out of money matters? Yeah. Should we be emotional?
I think, come again, should
we remove emotions out of money matters?
It will be good practice. Yeah, okay. I think it will be good practice, but it is super hard to do that, right? That's my view, and I think we should continuously be responsible towards money. Keep this attitude, and it will help you to keep away unnecessary emotions. That's my learning so far. I wouldn't say that you should or should not, but we should learn to manage it. Yeah. But if come to investment or when it comes to trading, you know, like how you put your money to work for you, work best for you, then yes, you need to either whether you can manage it without emotion for your money to work for you, or find the right investment tool that match your risk profile that can run for you without emotion. So that is for the investment part. But other areas, right, like for example, the family with kids and my newfound love in life, how to manage that without emotions? Yeah? Okay, I hope I answer your question.
Just a small one. In terms of emotions, I feel like we have, for millennials, getting them to just live their life in a way that they're conscious of their emotions will ensure that their finances are fine. Because the truth is, it's not because they don't know how to manage money or things like that. That can be learned. It can be learned. But if your basic, the way you live your life, you get emotional for everything and anything, then there's no point you learning anything about finance because you're going to screw it up there anyway. So what I believe in is like getting youngsters to actually learn how to manage their emotions, look at the lessons and all of that, and then naturally their finances will become something better. So,
be objective then.
Yeah, I think getting emotion out of money is a tough job, because I think everybody because money is an emotional subject, right? So, but I think emotion plays an important role in managing money, this subject, because some of us here may feel negatively about money because of our past experience, past conditioning, that because we lost some money there or no, or because the family argued over certain redistribution subject, so it got emotions there. But if we can help them to build up maybe positive emotions about money, maybe they don't feel like money is the real all evil, maybe you could feel that money can help me to empower more people. So I think if we can associate positive feelings towards money, then everybody will be more empowered to do more goods.
Yeah, so positive emotions. Yeah. Okay. Miss Brenda?
Okay, we spend $200 billion to understand actually the three brains are connected. The brain, the mind, the heart brain, and the gut brain. These three brains are actually connected. So in order to look at money objectively, we should have three of our brains touching the money together. The mind brain, the heart brain, and the core brain, the gut brain. Because they are neurologically connected. So that itself requires emotion. So emotions can actually break you, emotions can even build you, make you or build you. So with a lot of money, they cannot sleep. Without money, we also cannot sleep. So the question is, we need to have the peace of the mind and the heart and the belly or the gut in order to enjoy a good night's sleep. Because money is actually a tool. So in order to do so, it means if the mind, the heart, and the gut, can look at money objectively, there's a vacuum here. How do we roadmap this vacuum so that we can see it objectively that money is a tool for us to build? Today we may have $20,000. The moment Trump announced a policy, the $20,000 is maybe only 20 ringgit Malaysia. So what is that a real wealth? Is that a real wealth? So how do we look at emotions, money, and life in three compartments and gel it together as a wholesome compartment? That requires a very deep self-reflective journey. That's why education in financial literacy is important, because financial literacy could be a skill, but financial completeness is actually it's a whole process where you learn from your mind, your heart, your gut, and also the money psychology, the personality, the value system, the connective behavior. Then you look at it as a tool. And then on money itself, there are fiat currency, there are cryptocurrency, there are private equity asset, there are portfolios. Each parts of our money have their own portfolios. Serious money, one portfolio. Play money is another portfolio. You have options, futures, forex, and so on and so forth. So how do we steward the whole concoction? So if you look at the structural process, it's building a big garden out of the whole process. It's a big, beautiful garden. So each of the components requires emotion, because emotion fuel the journey. It's like the gas that create the car. So we need to understand what car are we driving. Are we driving a Ferrari, a Concho,
and what fuel are we putting in, and then finish the roadmap accordingly.
Thank you very much. So with that, thank you very much for the insights. And could we give a round of applause to our panelists? Thanks. So with that, thank you very much.